this is part 2 of our Darkroom series. This is actually printing the film that you've already developed. So after you've developed your film and you've had a chance to look at which print you want, we're ready to go to the enlargers where we'll actually print it to paper and then develop it on there. So I'm going to use this image, so I make sure that it's lined up, the 4 dots, so that it slides right in. And I make sure it's in the square so it'll print correctly, and you can double check by looking at the light. Now do keep in mind that this will all be done with a safe light, so it'll actually be orange in here versus the white light. You do this everything in the dark because you don't want to flash your paper. So we put it in the enlarger, lock it up, and we should see an image where you can tweak your film a little bit and move things around and center it. And here you'd use the levers, the upper and lower bellows, and also the height of the enlarger to make sure that you get into focus in the size that you want. I'm using just a standard easel here, but if you want to choose a different size print, they're on the back. So I'd have that there, and I know it's in focus, and I'm ready to go. So your paper will come in a light-safe bag like this, and you want to make sure you never open this in the light, because if you flash it, you just wasted a bunch of money on paper. It's the same theory as film. It'll have a paper side and an emulsion side, which has your silver halides, which actually picks up the picture. So make sure that you always put the side with the emulsion facing the light so that it actually captures your image. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make test strips. So I take a big piece of paper and I cut it into strips. And these will help us determine how long we need to expose the paper so we get a properly exposed photo in the end. So what you do, this is already done, so I'll just demonstrate what we did here, is that we had it set up, and of course it would be off, and then you have a little bit of it shown, and you say go for 3 seconds. Then I would actually reverse, because it should be darker first. So that was exposed for 3 seconds initially, but then I move it down a little bit, and I go for another 3 seconds. Make sure you keep your time intervals standard so you know how much you need to expose for. So now this first piece has been exposed for 6, and that was for 3. Then as we go on, it's 3, 6, 9, and so forth. So for this, I'd probably go, if this was 3 seconds, I know that was 6, and from there I can go a second or more, or even finer. And you can do it again with fine tuning to get that exact kind of exposure that you want. So now that I know what time interval I need to go to, I can set that into the timer here. And so I would take a full piece of paper out of the bag and make sure I put the emulsion side up so that the light shines on it. And then I'd set up the timer and I'd click it and say it's 5 seconds, let it go for 5. The timer will automatically shut off. And there you go. So you don't see anything now, but after we go through the chemicals again, the same chemicals that we did when we developed our film, it'll actually come out as an image. So what I've done here is I have my chemicals set up. We have our developer, our stop bath, our fixer, and our hypo-clear wash bath there. So you need about 1 inch of water in the pans. If you're just doing one photo at a time, these smaller pans work great, but there's also bigger pans if you're doing multiple photos at once. Same thing here, everything's on a timer. The one nice thing here is your developer isn't temperature sensitive, so you just need to dilute it with the water with the proper ratio. Here in the Craft Center, it's a 2 water to 1 chemical ratio. Mix it up, pour it in here. The other ones you just straight up pour. So you would take your paper, and then you would slide it into your developer, and make sure you pat it down because you want water to cover everything. And it doesn't really matter whether you put the image side up or the paper side, but just make sure you get all the air bubbles, and you don't want it to stick to the bottom because you want the chemical to go throughout the paper. And you let it sit for how long you need to. Developer for fiber paper is about 2 minutes, I believe. You'll have to play a little bit more depending on what company of paper you're using. It changes. In resin papers, you need less time because they don't absorb as much, or they absorb more rather. And so you let it go, and then when we're ready to switch, you lift it up, shake it off, try to get as much chemical off as you can. But you also want to be pretty quick at this because you want to make sure you go to the next chemical to stop the reactions or to remove the extra halide. So that would be our stop bath, and that's actually stopping the chemical reaction from the developer. And actually, once you're in your developer, you're going to slowly start to see your image pop up. So I'll flip it through the magic of video. You'd actually start seeing your image go up. And do keep in mind, since it's dark, it's always going to look different from what it actually look in the light. So after you're done with your print, you take it outside and give it a good look, and then you can adjust your timings from there too. So once we're done with the fixer, you just go to the next one. Again, make sure you're patting it down. You don't want it to stick to the bottom too much, and so forth. And then you get to your last one. And then the last step is we would take our photo out. And again here, after your fixer, you've removed all the silver highlights, so it is light safe. But just in general, you keep it dark in here to risk any exposure. And we take this, and we take it over the sink, and we put it in our water bath. This would be filled with water, and it would be rotating and agitating. And we'd give it another 10-minute soak to, again, get all the chemicals out of there and make sure that your print's going to not do anything weird once we let it dry. And then after 10 minutes, you'll be able to grab your photo, take it outside, look at it, and let it dry on our silk screens. I can get it out. So we take it out. I'd probably have it in a pan, and I take it outside, and then I would put it on one of the screens and let it dry. I usually let things go overnight to dry. Sometimes they need a bit longer, sometimes they only need a few hours. It really depends on, again, the paper and how much it's been soaking for, or how long it's been soaking for. And once it's done, and once it's dry, you'll be able to just do whatever you want with it. It's light safe. You can hang it up in your room, give it to your parents, and do whatever you want with it.